There we go. All right. Happy to see everybody on. I am just going to move a window over here because what I want to do is, for the most part, we're going to be doing the coaching call on screen, like so. Because it is all about self image, I decided I'm not going to hide behind a deck. So here we go. And we're going to be talking about some pretty vulnerable stuff actually over the next 30, 40 minutes. I haven't quite timed this one out because depending on what comes up. So a little bit of housekeeping. So if you have any questions, by all means, pop them in the chat. The Q&A is going to follow. As usual, I'll go through the lesson first. The call's being recorded. It's going to be in the vault, as is the first lesson that was on goals and last month's lesson on paradigm. And actually, last month's is going to play into this month. So, and I'll keep repeating that because what we're doing now is we're starting to layer. I don't want to be feeding everybody with a fire hose, but I do want to start introducing different concepts that sit on top of others and on top of others so that ultimately we don't want to be paralyzed with all of this information. We actually want small, manageable chunks that we can act on. That's the part that's important, is being able to take action. So what's going to be coming up here is, again, a 30,000 foot view on self-image. We know this is a huge topic. I'm naming them huge because, yeah, we're going to touch on some of the salient points on self-image. We know there's way more to it than what I can possibly cover in 30 or 40 minutes, but it'll be a solid start. And like I said, we're going to be building on last month's call and bringing some of that into this month's call. And we are also going to be, as we do for every coaching call, we're going to review how the mind works. Okay. And the detailed description of that is in the first call in goal setting. I'm going to be going through it very briefly this time and really just how it plays into self-image. All right. So like I said, we're reviewing last month's call. We're reviewing how the mind works. Self-image is going to be broken down into three pieces. We're going to talk about outside circumstances and how that affects our self-image. We're going to talk about our belief system, and we're going to talk about what kind of self-talk we're subjecting ourselves to, consciously and unconsciously. Okay. And finally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you home with an exercise, a PDF of the exercise, a little different than last month. We're not going to do the exercise here because this is one that's going to take some time by yourself, a cup of tea, and really think it through. Really think through these questions, because it's ultimately what you're going to be doing is you're going to be writing the script of your own movie. And we're going to put you in the director's chair. So, so before I start, and Kara, I'm so happy you're on this call because the story that I'm going to be jumping into is about, oh, you have a puppy too, or a cat? Oh, a kitty. Oh, cool. I feel like I need to get an animal now. Just for these calls. Maybe I'll rent one. Anyway, so um, so so let me kick off this call by telling you a little story about that revolves around my own self-image and how it actually plays into today's call and how I was challenged actually around this. I mentioned this in the study group yesterday. You all know Kara, and Kara wears so many hats beautifully, but for the sake of this story, I'm going to call her my social media manager because this is what the story is about. So recently, and still, I've been experiencing a block around social media and being able to put content out there, and it extended to really my questioning my branding. And then I realized, well, wait, what is branding if not just corporate speak for self-image? I'm the corporation. I'm the image. Only now my challenge had less to do with color and placement and words and all of that stuff, but more about having to stand naked in the metaphorical square, right? Having to be vulnerable and put content out that people are going to relate to. And so it turns out it wasn't so much that either, because I started kind of peeling away the layers and going, okay, this is playing into the call. How is this playing out with me? And it turns out that the real issue was really having to explain the image that I had in my head. And how clear was I? Because at the end of the day, I'm my ideal client. It's people that have gone through what I've gone through, who are curious about what I'm curious about. And how well was I explaining that? How vulnerable was I prepared to be? That was the kicker. That when that word came up for me, I got goosebumps. And that's when I know that intuitively, okay, I'm on to something here. And then it went on to, okay, so was I selling myself short? And was I being timid for fear of coming across as conceited? Where's the line? Right? Is any of this, show of hands, is any of this resonating? Right? And so as I was scratching my noggin and the little hamster stopped and didn't know which wheel to get on, because like, oh, Carol, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? It turns out that I realized the good news was that I get to decide where that line is. As long as I'm sitting in my truth and I'm not apologizing for being awesome where I am awesome and being modest and humble where I need work, then that's it. That's all I need. That's all any of us need. Okay. The line is where you define the line. So we're going to dig into 3 different areas and kind of play around with that. You'll want to go back over this one as you're doing the exercise, because there's some things that are going to come up that maybe aren't going to come up in the live call, but may come up that will hit you in the recording. That generally happens with these types of things. So, and like I said, it turns out this was excellent fodder for today's discussion. I love how the universe works. It's just awesome. Anyways, all right. So quick recap. What's a paradigm? Paradigm, in short, is a collection of habits that's installed in our subconscious mind. And that's what causes our habitual behavior, what we do without conscious thought, right? We get on autopilot. I used the example, I think, last month of, you ever find yourself driving a really familiar road and then you get to where you're going and if anybody asks you how you got there, you kind of went, I really don't remember the trip. It was just so automatic, right? It's because it's ingrained. It's the reason why we do what we do, and it's the primary cause of our results. We think it's our behavior. Our behavior is actually the secondary cause of our results. So, and people's paradigms cause them to be subservient to their outside world. They live through their senses to what the media is telling them, to what is coming in from the outside, rather than tapping in, living from the inside out and tapping into those higher faculties that we've talked about. Okay, quick reminder of that. Remember WIMPIR, W-I-M-P-I-R, will, intuition, memory, perception, imagination, and reason. These are going to factor in when we're talking about self-image. So we also talked about where they come from, where these paradigms come from, right? And we learned what a banana had to do with a paradigm. And I'm actually not even going to repeat it this time, because I'm going to let people go back and have a look at last month's to find out what that means. But essentially, it's the way we've all been taught how to peel a banana. And really, there's a much easier way of doing it, but very few of us know about that, right? If anybody watches The Big Bang Theory, any Big Bang Theory fans out there? Okay, so Sheldon asking Amy Farrah Fowler, who eats a banana horizontally anyways? And Amy saying, well, my mother said that's how good girls do it. That was her paradigm, right? This was Amy's paradigm of this is how I was taught, right? So it's all downloaded. So remember this part when you find yourself doing something habitually that might not necessarily be serving you. You know, just ask yourself, am I fighting against the wrong end of the banana at the end of the day, right? Get into observation mode. So we know that it's been handed down by parents, teachers, adults with influence and measure of authority over us. And some things actually date back generations. And some things we've actually observed and integrated and decided, no, we're going to do something differently. We're going to create a new paradigm for ourselves because we don't want it. We don't want what our parents had, for example, or whatever, right? And some have actually adopted habits that have served them and they've gotten the results that they wanted. But when you ask them how they did it, they have no idea. These are known as unconscious competence. So not all paradigms are bad, right? It's just what is installed in our subconscious, what we do habitually. So how do we change it? Well, we went through a really effective exercise, and I think a lot of people got a lot out of that one because it is extremely powerful to have, to write down something in detail and then write the polar opposite of that and then actually get rid of the piece that is not serving us anymore. It's symbolic, but it has it does impress upon the subconscious. It has that emotional impact, if you will, that impresses that message on the subconscious. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen this time because let me just move this back here. Bear with me. Oh, there we go. Okay, so share. There we go. Let me just go full screen. There we go. Can everybody see that? We're good? Excellent. Okay, and I can see you guys, which is great. All right, so just a quick refresher here, right? This is the stick person, the stick figure. This is how the mind works. Greater detail in the very first coaching call that we did on goals, but let me just go through it really quickly here. The top part of this little stick person is the mind. The bottom part is the body. The mind, the top part is divided in two, the conscious mind, which is our thinking mind. It gets its information from all of our external factors, like this, what we see, hear, taste, smell, touch. The bottom half is the subconscious mind, which is the emotional mind. So the conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject information, right? It kind of filters the stuff in. Subconscious mind, the emotional mind, on the other hand, can only accept information. So as we accept certain ideas, we get emotionally involved in it and we install that in our subconscious, then that gets expressed through the body, through our behavior. But then we've learned that the behavior really is the secondary cause of our results. The primary cause actually lives in our subconscious. So we have to get to the root. If we want to change the results, we got to get to what's installed in the subconscious. Okay. Another area where we get information is from our higher faculties, our will, our intuition, our memory, perception, imagination, our reason. Okay. I'm going to tap into reason a lot here when it comes to dealing with self-image. Let me just make sure I haven't. Let me go here. There we go.
Carol, sorry to interrupt. I just sent a
Yes.
message, but I think they got confused that they're having a pizza party right now for me. And I think you
Oh, okay.
suggested this is recorded. So
Yes, it is.
um
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Have
really
that.
excited for it.
All
But I
good,
gotta
Dan.
go.
All good, Dan. Have an extra slice for all of us. Happy
Okay,
birthday.
thanks, guys.
All
Enjoy
right.
so much. Okay.
Take care. All right. Bye. Oh, cool. Well, he was on for the good part. His birthday song. So here's the thing, because our mind thinks in images, the image we have of ourselves will be reflected in our results. So if we hold a poor self image in our sub, right? Poor results. If we have a great self image, great results. Now, let's be clear. This is not conceit, because when a person is conceited and they have a need to keep talking about how great they are, that's actually an insecurity that's coming through. Okay. It's got nothing to do with, because a confident person will just go ahead and be awesome and trust that, what they do is going to be reflected, and that it'll be like a pebble in a pond. Like I say, it'll just have that positive impact on everyone that they meet, touch, impact. Okay. So I'm going to stop the share here. There we go. Accept. Let's get out of this. There we go. All right, hang on a second here. I'm still in. There we go. All right. So, as Dr. Maxwell Maltz tells us, you can never outperform your own self-image. So, we just had a look at the stick figure. If we have a good self-image, that'll show in our results. But we may want to be up here, but if our self-image and our belief system is down here, there's going to be a battle going on between these two pieces. Okay? There's going to be, this is going to be the war zone, because the paradigm is going to beat you back to where your self-image is. So you got to raise the thermostat. Okay. Just get this. Here we go. Let me just move this over here. There we go. Now I can see. Too many screens here. So I want to do a quick exercise with you. So if you're not on camera, that's okay. And if you're more comfortable doing this off camera, you can. If you do decide to do that, what I want you to do is I want you to take your phone out, take the camera, open the camera app, and then reverse the camera so you're looking at yourself in the in your phone. Otherwise, look directly in your eyes in your own image that you see here on screen. Okay? And here, I'm not gonna, because what I want you to do is stay on mute. You okay, Dana? Okay. I know. That's okay. We're going to score this after. Okay. So look yourself in the eye. And I want you to repeat after me. Stay on mute. I am a marvel. I am here for a unique purpose. No one else does what I do the way I do it. And I love myself unconditionally. On a scale of 1 to 10, how awkward was that? Or how comfortable? 1 being super awkward and 10, can we do it again? You can pop it in there. Oh, good. Excellent. Yeah, you can just show me your fingers if oh, excellent. I love it. I love it. This is awesome. Or you can just drop it in the comments if oh, here we go. Yes, I hear you, Kara. I know it was comfortable right up until I love myself unconditionally, right? We know these things like everything else because everything else kind of had to do with the outside world, right? But then it was, no, this is just you and me, kid. Like, ooh, ooh. So it doesn't matter because both are gifts, right? There's no right or wrong answer in terms of, what the scale is because it's just both of these are gifts. One is unwrapping it and the other is giving it away. They're both good, right? You're just coming at it from different ends. So this is something that I will want you to get used to is that kind of mirror work, that kind of, I know we did it kind of in a semi-public way, but I think that if we can get past the discomfort of doing it in this kind of forum, it should be super comfortable doing it in front of a mirror. Right? We just have to find the right words. And those words, you actually started finding them in last month's coaching call when you had the positive affirmations on the right-hand side of the T, right? So we're going to develop that a little bit more. So, actually, you know what? Maybe I will share the screen at this point because now we've done like sort of the awkward part. So let's dig into, and I think that the screen, the the deck is going to be helpful here. Shoot, hang on. I'm not having a good technology day today. I don't know what's going on. Normally, I'm all over this. There we go. Oh, present. That's why. Silly me. All right, let's go here, here. There we go. And share the screen. All right. So last week, I think it was, Kara, I wrote an article on the pointing the finger. And I in it, I'm talking about when we're blaming outside circumstances. If you've heard the old saying, right? When you point the finger, you got three pointing back at you. Ugh. I always hated that, but it's true. But then I started digging a little deeper and going, okay, well, what are the three fingers that are pointing at me? What do they represent? What are the three things at least that I have control over? Right? And one is I control which higher faculty I choose to lean into, right? And in this one, I'm going to tap more into reason. I'll get into that in a little bit. The next one is what am I receiving? What am I recognizing? What am I sitting in gratitude for that I've already accomplished? Because when we point the finger, it's generally related to lack, what's missing, right? So what do I already have? Where do I need to work on my receive muscle? And then last but not least, and that was the really tricky one for me, was where are my beliefs around this? And what can I shift? When I'm pointing the finger at certain circumstances, there's something in my belief system that's causing me to do that. It's causing me to deflect taking responsibility for my own stuff, right? So, and that's one of the things that Maxwell Maltz talks about in chapter 5 is that he tells us that we're prone to underestimating ourselves and overestimating the nature of the difficulty facing us, right? Rather than just saying, you know what, no, I'm bigger than this. I can do this. I'm bigger than this. And that's part of our self-image, isn't it? We see it as, oh man, it's kind of a David and Goliath thing, right? It's a little insurmountable, or it seems to be, if we've made up our mind that that's how it is. That's where our belief system comes in, right? And the same goes for others' belief in us, good or bad. We hand over power to others a little too readily. Okay, so I've got a link to the blog post here. So when I give you the deck, I think that link will be live. I believe Canva does keep live links. If not, it's on the website. It's the latest one. just going to open the book to make sure that I've got everything covered here. Okay, so next, actually, maybe I can do it here, or can I? Yes, I can. Okay. A second. Okay, hang on. Oh, I missed a whole bunch of slides. No, that's right. No, pointing the finger, that's right. So pointing the finger, that's the first thing that we need to be looking at. What are we blaming on outside circumstances when it comes to our own self-image? Belief. This is where, and I love this part in psychocybernetics, is where he talks about indignation and anger can actually be a good thing. When you start getting mad at the indignation that you are making yourself suffer, right? And he uses the example of a farmer who was addicted to tobacco, and he had was halfway at his destination when he realized he didn't have it with him. And he started the 2-mile trek back to the house to get it until he stopped and went, "What am I doing?" And he got mad that this habit had him in such a grip that he went, "Yeah, you know what? No, that's it. I'm done." And got angry because of the indignation that this habit, he was allowing this habit to wreak havoc on his life and control his life to that extent. Okay. So the indignation and the anger can help you get a hold of the control knob of your conscious mind, right? Because you've got an automatic mechanism now that's sitting in your subconscious mind, right? But the anger and the indignation lets you get a hold of the control knob in your conscious mind so that you can start thinking differently about certain things. So if you're making yourself suffer certain indignations through your conscious thoughts, it's time to get pissed at them. And it's time to start changing that. Okay. You can act as if, you can borrow it. You can imagine you're in a hypnotic state. Dorothea Brande talks about that. And she says that, if people can tap into their talents, abilities, and powers under hypnosis, then why not do that in a wakeful state? That's the whole act as if thing. It used to kind of confuse me a little when people would say, well, if you can't find your belief, borrow mine. Well, how can I borrow yours if I don't even know what it feels like? Right? But acting as if is something that in my actor's mind, I mean, I have done my share of theater that, yeah, okay, I get that. I get reading the script. I get writing the script. I get to direct. I get to produce. I get to, okay, hang on, that part I can do. That I can. Right? Borrowing belief, that was still a little that one's still a little nebulous to me. I have to go find my own. And in order to find my own, I can act as if until I'm solidly rooted in it. So essentially, what she's saying, Dorothea Brande was saying that, why not act as if it were impossible to fail? There's that shift, right? Because the feeling springs from belief. And if we refer back to the creative process, I don't know if you remember that circle. I wish I'd had put an example of that here, but results driven thinking as opposed to the creative process. The results driven thinking is looking at the results and thinking, yeah, that's the way it is. And we get these feelings around those existing results. That leads to our actions and it leads to the same results. And then we wind up doing the same thing over and over and over again, as opposed to the creative process where we think a new thought. We get emotionally involved with that thought. That leads to different actions and ultimately different results. Now we're getting into a different cycle. That's the creative process. Okay. So, and once we get a grip on all of these things, we can get a better understanding of where our beliefs come from, how we can use indignation and anger and everything else. Then we can start looking at integrating the new belief with behavior, with our behavior. Now, if I'm acting as if I've got a new belief system in place, how do I integrate that in my behavior, into my behavior? Right? Because behavior, again, secondary result, a secondary cause of the results. Okay, everybody with me so far? We're good? Awesome. All right. Let's see if I can move to. All right, last piece. Self-talk. Now, some controversy around this, around Dr. Emoto, is whether it's science or pseudoscience, but I like to think that we're all energy anyway. You know, when you feel like you feel a certain way around certain people, feel differently around different people, right? It's an energy thing, it's an intuition thing. Whether or not these crystals actually did happen. Dr. Emoto, in The Memory of Water, talks about when certain water crystals were subjected to either, um, you know, word different words or different emotions. Like, for example, thank you and love and appreciation, Mother Teresa. You can see how beautiful the crystals would wind up being, and that as opposed to being subjected to heavy metal music, or you make me sick, I'll kill you, or Adolf Hitler, then it was all disjointed and disorganized and everything else. The study also extended to rice. There were some that were using it in rice where there were 3 different jars of rice. One had I love you on it, the other one had I hate you on it, and the third one was ignore me. What I found most powerful about that one is that the one that said ignore me, and that they were largely ignored, didn't fare much better than the I hate you jar. So I'm bringing this in because we are 60% water. So whatever we say to that reflection in the mirror is going to have some effect on us. Whether it's physiological, whether it's mental, whatever way you want to slice it. All I know is that from a personal experience, when I've started changing my self-talk and actually focusing on self-talk and not just doing a meh in the mirror, right? And not just ignoring what was there, or if I wasn't ignoring, then I was berating what I saw, certainly was not having a great mental effect on me. However, having kinder words to say to myself, and even just a wink in passing and a quick hiya gorgeous made all the difference in the world. Have fun with it. Have fun with it, because this turned out to be a fun exercise, actually. And it was just for me. It was just for my own benefit. There wasn't anybody else watching. There was nobody else saying, well, what are you saying that for? It doesn't matter. What's important is that you not ignore your own reflection. At the very basic, don't ignore your own reflection. Even if it's just a quick wink, do it. Because how do you feel when somebody winks at you? Isn't it just sort of a fun, playful thing? It's like, oh yeah, somebody gets me. Right? At least that's what I get when somebody, right? If I've made like one of my, typical off the wall jokes, I get a wink, man, that's as good as a giggle. Cool. So send love like you would to your favorite person. All righty. Okay, so the exercise. I'm going to stop this share. Well, actually, I wonder. Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing just for a moment because I'm going to, let's stop this. There we go. I'm just going to open the PDF, and I do have it open here. Perfect. And I'll share again. So you'll see what this PDF looks like. the first thing that you'll want to do, and I am sharing the PDF of this deck, is I'll want you to continue to review the paradigm exercise. Okay, so just a quick recap on that. You're going to take a blank piece of paper. You're going to write your goal across the top. Then you're going to put the T right below it. And on the left-hand side, remember last month we were talking about just pick any situation where you're not getting the results that you want. What I want you to get specific before now. When it comes to this, what's not working out, I want you to get specific about what specifically about your self-image is not ideal, is not what you want the way it is now. And I want you to get into as much detail as possible. Just like you did last month with whatever situation it was so this time we're starting to zero in. We're going to talk about self-image. So get right into it, write as much as you possibly can on the left-hand side, get into as much detail. On the right-hand side now, you're going to take each and every one of those points. You're going to say the polar opposite of that in present tense in an I am affirmation. Okay. So let's say if it's I hate the weight I'm at, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. If I'm just picking random stuff out here, it's like, I am at my ideal weight and I love my healthy body. Okay. So it's just that you're going to go through it line by line and do all of that. Okay. Now, we don't necessarily have to be doing the exercise now, but if you want to get it started, that's fine. I can see some of you are writing notes. So, if it's a starting point, perfect. But what you'll want to do with this particular exercise is you'll start with that one from last month, and then you're going to move on to this. I wonder if I can, yes, I can. There we go. It's a 3-pager, straight up black and white, super easy to print. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to imagine your life is a movie. Okay. And you're the director, you're the producer, you're the casting agent, the executive producer, you're the script writer, everything. You're responsible for your movie here. And you have to finance it, of course. Right? Now, consider each of the questions as you reflect on the movie of your life as it is today and the movie that you're trying to create. This is why we're not going to do this today, but I am going to leave you with this because it'll take some quiet time, some reflective time. You might want to meditate even before and after to see what comes up for you. So you're going to determine what your movie is like. What kind of movie is it? Who are the characters in your movie? And are you the star of the show or a supporting actor? Then you're going to determine what the plot line is. And then as you write the current storyline, begin to imagine your movie a month from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now. How is the story going to develop going forward? Okay, where's the plot twist? I'm going to add a note actually, because this is something that, Dana and I, we went through this with Dare to Shine is the hero's journey. There's a short one, and I'm going to actually add the link. I'm going to put that in. Add link to hero's journey. I'm not going to do the whole movie. There's a whole 90-minute movie. This is like a 3-minute kind of overview of a typical hero's journey that you see in most movies. So this will play into this. Okay. So how's your plot line changing? What would you like to have happen in the movie in the future? How do you want it to evolve? And then how are the characters in your movie all coming together to support you with the storyline that you're looking for? Okay. And then how do you feel about the movie that you're creating? And how would you like to improve it? So you see what I mean when I said, like, this isn't something that we're going to be able to do like just in this one sitting. However, this is something that requires some thought. It requires some, here, I can stop the share right now because you'll have, there we go. It requires some thought, and it requires you tapping into those higher faculties, especially imagination, perception, right? How are you seeing your movie now? What kind of plot line do you want? Right? Is any of this resonating? Does it make sense? Okay. It's actually a really fun exercise, and it can also be a very moving exercise. Okay, let me just make sure that I've got, where is it? There we go. And again, I'm going to use Walt Whitman's line, be curious, not judgmental. Always, always, always have fun with it. Find the fun element in it. Even if it seems really heavy, it doesn't have to be. There's everything, there's the law of polarity, right? There's no up unless there's down. There's no, right? Hot, cold. So if it seems really heavy, okay, fine. Don't ignore it. It's there. However, where's the fun element in this? Where's the light? Let's go find the light. Oh, okay. Right? Some of the best comedians have been able to see horrible circumstances and then lift something hilarious out of it where you kind of go, oh my gosh, I can't believe they said that. But it's funny, right? Because it's human, right? It was Mr. Rogers in It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, one of my favorite movies. And they were at the deathbed of the main characters. I can't remember who the Matthew Rhys's character. And everybody all of a sudden hit like a really awkward point because it was obvious. The elephant in the living room was the fact that the father was dying. And he spoke up and he said, death is a human thing. And anything human is mentionable. Anything mentionable is manageable. So if you can talk about it, you can manage it. So that's the coaching call for this month. Does anyone have any questions? Anything that I'm just reading through some of this. Oh, Dana, thank you. Okay, so Vita Austin does similar work to Dr. Emoto. She teaches others to replicate the results at home on their own. Water carries wisdom and is receptive to thoughts and environment. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
She does fascinating work.
Vita Austin.
Yeah, and we can try it for ourselves at home. I've been wanting to do this for months and I haven't done it. But what she has a technique, and you take a teaspoon or two of water, put it in she uses a petri dish, and then you bring the water, so you expose the water to a thought, or you could even put the water over top of a photograph for 30 seconds. And then you bring the water just to freezing, like just to freezing, take it out, use your iPhone and magnify, take a picture up against light, I guess. And the how the water crystallizes is just unbelievable. So the water can work as like a photocopier to the picture, or she has collected 50 different hydroglyphs, as she calls them. Hydroglyphs.
Hydroglyphs. I love it.
Yeah. So she only counts something as a hydroglyph, like a symbol that the water makes, if she's been able to replicate it 50 times. And anyway, it's fascinating work. She's asked the water questions and has had a response back in terms of a hydroglyph, that it is a symbol that communicates meaning. It's just mind-blowing.
Awesome.
So the things that we consider to be pseudoscience, or many people dismiss it as such, really may not be pseudoscience at all.
Exactly, exactly. And I only wanted to bring it up because there is that possibility. Sure. I don't want to
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, Kara. Same here, actually. I'm like head to toe goosebumps right now.
Yeah. And then if you think about, as you said, Carol, we're more than 70% water
Mhm.
in terms of a physical being. And so if you're drinking water or liquid, you think you have to be very conscious and mindful. What am I thinking before I drink this water? Because whatever I am putting into that water and then I ingest it is going to be mirrored within my being.
Right.
And
Right.
so it can
Ooh,
be so amazing and wonderfully powerful and beautiful. Water, she says, doesn't respond. So if you think about, you could even program a lake of water or a bay or a river or the ocean.
mhm.
It only responds to positive things. It will only kind of mirror and reflect positive things, not negative thinking. So you can't program a lake of water to be, negative and harmful or destructive to others. It won't respond.
Interesting.
It's just fascinating. Anyway, I won't take up any more time.
Oh no, that is it works, it plays beautifully into what we were just talking about. Thank you so much. It supported that point. Because like I said, I look it up all the time because I like to see, okay, yin yang, right? Let's understand what science, what pseudoscience, but anything can be disproved if you like. I mean, you can really work statistics to support anything. Right? So it depends on the question. It depends on how even how you do the math around it,
Yeah,
right?
the statistics and studies can be,
Absolutely.
I'll be frank, like manipulated to support a certain hypothesis. Now, really good quality research should be unbiased and not do that.
Mhm.
But yeah, that is possible, you
At the
know.
end of the day, if there are humans involved in any of these studies, it's right, we're imperfect. We're
And there's a certain
imperfect.
amount of influence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've started getting into the habit of saying that, finding what's wrong in an imperfect world is not only easy, it borders on lazy. Finding the good, that takes courage. Finding the good and speaking to that good takes even more courage. So, and from that, Dr. Hawkins conscious, right, going from a constricted to an expanded state of awareness, courage is the tipping point. That's at a 200 level, and that's where that's the bridge to getting into the expanded state. So thank you so much for being courageous and sitting through this, what can sometimes be an uncomfortable topic, but I'm so glad you did. And I'm going to go through this exercise myself, by the way. I have a while back, but I'm due to go through it. So I'd love to get your feedback on it in the community chat. Let's throw some ideas up there of what, and if you're open to sharing, by all means. But if you have any questions, then yeah. Oh, Brenda Lynn, did you have a question? Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you for the presentation. It was great.
Thank you.
And in talking about the good and the bad stories, right? We talk about that in my memoir class that I'm working in right now is, not everything has to be dark.
Right.
You have to have the light stories as well, right? And find that happy balance.
Yeah.
Right? Because not everybody wants to read all the bad stuff all the time.
Of
You gotta
course.
have good to weigh it out, right?
Absolutely.
Make it equal. So
So
Mhm.
great. Thank you so much. I don't know why I'm coming up with a bunch of quotes, but it was Leonard Cohen, right? There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you have great metaphors. Thank you.
Well, you have no idea buried under how much useless information. I have to go digging,
It's all good. It's all good.
but I rock at Jeopardy.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
But if I
Yeah.
ever had, I probably wouldn't be able to do the button. That would be my problem. I'd toss and go, that's it, I'm out. Anywho, on that note, who knew we would end up with Jeopardy on a self-image coaching call? There we have it. Thank you so, so much. A great, small, intimate group. We even had a birthday boy, and Alain, I know he's signed in, but he's busy with other stuff, but appreciate that. There was the familial presence. It's all good. All right, guys. Awesome to see you. Thank you
you.
so much and have a phenomenal, phenomenal day.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye, Ellen.
Bye.